Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project and Magnetic Reversal News, bringing you a magnetic excursion update Monday, March 17th, around 10 p.m. Mountain Time 2025. Greenland record ice gain today, over 8 gigatons recorded, as the media reports the exact opposite. Keep calm. It's boom time. Survivors pick through ruins after monster storm kills 40 across the U.S. Survivors are reckoning with the fatal storm system that spawned tornadoes, dust storms, and fires across a handful of states this weekend. And, well, the devastation was complete in many regions. We had F4 tornadoes recorded, which basically means complete destruction, and the cleanup continues. And more massive numbers coming on the hail map for Sunday, March 16th. 83,789 households impacted by hail 1 inch or larger. 292 households impacted by 1.75 inch hail or larger. That is a total of 117 square miles impacted by 1 inch or larger hail. And here's the full forecast. A Pacific storm system is impacting the western U.S. currently, critical to extremely critical fire weather in the central U.S. A Pacific storm will move through the western U.S. today and Tuesday with areas of heavy mountain snow, gusty to high winds, and lower elevation rain. Ahead of the storm, gusty winds and dry conditions over the central and southern plains will contribute to widespread, critically to extremely critical fire weather through Tuesday. So don't flick your cigarette butts out the window. Let's check the wildfire and smoke map. It appears we have tons of pop-up fires in that dangerous area. Not good. With high winds, these fires will spread. The good news, none of them are large, except for this fire in coastal North Carolina, which has a smoke plume moving down through Miami, across Cuba, all of the Yucatan, and almost all of southern Mexico, and portions of Central America. That is quite the fire indeed. A small plume in Atlanta, small plume in Louisiana, but minor fires with prevailing winds blowing directly north. So hopefully many of these are being contained as they are small brush fires, and the area in question, well, not quite that forested in many of the regions. But there are dozens of fires in the south and the southeast currently making their way across the land. Quick look at the GFS model here, and we can see that major storm system that created all that tornadic activity has now moved offshore. A little bit of flurries on the back end. Maine's still getting some rain on the coastal regions, and the next atmospheric river has made its way all the way to the central Sierras. Some activity in Southern California tonight, maybe some light rain there as the system moves into the intermontane west and the Rocky Mountains here Tuesday and into Wednesday, bringing precipitation to the Four Corners region as it makes its way east into Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota. Say it ain't soda, and bombs out on Wednesday here. Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, right in the center of the crosshairs there on Wednesday. That's going to be heavy snow, 1 to 2 inches per hour with heavy blowing wind for Minnesota and Iowa and even Wisconsin. As it moves east, Michigan going to be picking up on the party as the major snow band moves up into eastern Canada, and the rest of us are left, well, with rain on the east coast. That's about it. Another small clipper will move into the northwest at the same time, and system after system hitting the Pacific Northwest. Wow. There's another one for the end of March, and again another coming into the west here, which could be bombing out for something spectacular here as we enter April. Looking quite significant there. Now, a shocking new study shows Greenland's ice sheet is breaking down at record speed. This was published February 10th, just 1 month ago. The bad news is that in the last month, we've had record-breaking ice gain on Greenland. Yeah, this is 10 gigatons, 11 gigatons, 8 gigatons, respectively, since February. Nothing has dropped into mass loss, which means no ice has been lost. Record ice has been gained in the last month and a half. So how do they get away with reporting on articles like this? Well, editors don't care, no one cares, and people don't get fact-checked. That's why we're here, to check the facts. Seismic update. A bunch of quakes of note today. Moderate uptick on the Ring of Fire, nothing significant, normal activity. A small cluster in Indonesia and the Philippines. A slight uptick on the west coast, some mid-ocean ridge activity, 5.1 in South Georgia Islands. All normal activity worldwide. Nothing to get worried about here, folks. 5.5 down here off the shore of Mexico. Appears to be one of the biggest rumblers of the day. Yep, all normal activity worldwide. Worldwide volcano news for the 17th of March. Sangay reported to 20,000 foot today. Fuego to 15,000. Katmai volcano, puffing and passing. Semeru, who knew? Now you do 15,000 foot blast there. Ducono to 9,000 feet. Nevado de Ruiz, 21,000 foot blast. Beautiful photography coming out today from Merapi. Intense explosion happened yesterday, and there's the photo. Conleon to 9,000 foot today. Merapi to 12,000 foot. Santaguito to 14. Ibu puffing and passing and on the list. Liwatobi as well. Reventador. Fuego to 15,000 foot. Sangay, possible volcanic ash there. Semeru to 15,000. Nevado de Ruiz, possible volcanic ash as well. Ducono to 8,000 feet. Huge list today. Santaguito, possible volcanic ash. Conleon to 9,000. Ibu to 7,000. Liwatobi. Erupting Reventador volcanic ash reported. Fuego, possible volcanic ash, wrapping up the list for the 17th of March. Quick look over at space weather. We've had some moderate flaring. In fact, might have met the M0 threshold there. But I do digress. These are all small flares, not geo-effective. No one cares. And there are tons of small sunspots. It looks like active region 4021 is increasing in size and maybe complexity as it moves away from center disk. No major flaring for weeks. And, well, it appears as if Solar Max is over. It's going to be a short cycle, and we just have to wait and see what happens. 3-day geomagnetic forecast, all quiet. No major coronal holes to worry about. No major flaring. Grand solar minimum much? Now, have you heard of the March 29th solar eclipse? Well, it's going to be spectacular, but not total. The dramatic solar eclipse on March 29th will be the first one visible in North America since April of 2024. The only problem, the United States is going to miss out, except for extreme New England. Extreme eastern Maine will have some visibility of this dramatic eclipse. The partial solar eclipse will take place for about 2 hours across the planet between 4:50 a.m. and 8:34 a.m. Eastern Time on March 29th. Early in the morning, so you got to get up to see this baby. This is kind of what it will look like if you're in one of the regions that will see most of the totality. About 93% of the sun's disk will be blocked by the new moon, but only in certain regions, including parts of eastern Maine, Greenland, Iceland, Europe, and Northwest Africa. Let's look at some of the numbers here. The best place to view the eclipse will be northern Quebec, where a maximum of 93.1% of the sun will be obscured by the moon, and I'm sure we'll get some videography coming from the event. The closer any location is to Aklulevic in northern Quebec, the deeper the eclipse will be. However, this region also sees the eclipse at sunrise, so it's going to be difficult to see there. The choice locations for viewing the spectacle include northeast of Quebec City and along the border between Maine and New Brunswick. You'll also be able to see it across the pond, but let's talk about some visibility in the U.S. for most of our listeners. For instance, Philadelphia will see 11% coverage. That means just a little sliver. You'll see a sliver of that eclipse move across the side of the moon. Washington, D.C. will experience just 1%. Reykjavik will see 60% of the eclipse. And in Dublin, 41%, London, 30%, Paris, 23%, and Berlin, well, you're the big loser, Berlin, 15% for you. Who knew? Now you all do. Get out and look up. Scientists are closer to predicting the timing and intensity of solar flares thanks to supercomputers and quantum computing. They're just trying to figure out the parameters they need to get some of the data. If this interests you, all the links will be below. You can watch live tonight as Starliner astronauts finally return home after being stuck in space for 9 months. The crew was originally meant to stay on board the ISS just for a week, but issues with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft severely delayed their return to Earth. Well, and also politics. But guess who went up to save them? Yep. The most hated man on Earth, Elon Musk. 2 NASA astronauts are finally going home after having spent more than 9 months aboard the ISS for what was meant to be a week-long mission. They will be returning to Earth with live coverage of the Dragon Hatch closing beginning Monday, tonight, 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time. That's already happened. The live stream of the Dragon undocking will be Tuesday at 12:45 a.m., and so go get it. That will be just about an hour and a half after the show. So check out the link and watch the return of the stranded astronauts. Now, researchers propose new hypothesis for the origin of stone tools. They think that around 3 million years ago, when hominids were getting organized, that they actually found lithics on the ground that were already sharp. And it took tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years to figure out how to make them themselves. The paper, which just came out on the 15th of March, 2 days ago, What Can Lithics Tell Us About Hominin Technology? Primordial Soup? Question mark. An origin of stone napping via the emulation of Mother Nature. And so the claim is that they were just picking up sharp rocks that exist on the ground to do their handiwork before they made their own. Well, if Occam's razor is anything, I may agree with this research. What say you? Leave a comment below. Good news, Bill Gates gives up on saving the planet. Yep, this is a turning point in environmentalism, and Bill Gates just defunded his climate change wing, or whatever you want to call it, which is good news for all of us because this guy's got tons of money to fund tons of nonsense. It's true, for years, the world's wealthiest individual had been at the forefront on the fight against climate change. With his vast resources, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and others have funded green energy initiatives backed by carbon capture technologies, which is the biggest money laundering scam on Earth. And apparently it's coming to an end, and the greenies are losing their mind. They're also losing their mind. Take a look at the price of eggs. This is the wholesale price of eggs. In the last 10 days, the wholesale price of eggs dropped from over $8 to $3.45. Yeah, that is a 50% correction. Not a single mainstream media target is commenting on it. In about a month, this will hit the retail shelves, and well, I imagine there will be crickets. Now, this price is the same as back, well, before the whole bird flu nonsense got started. Good news for those that buy eggs in supermarkets. But we don't do that. In other good news, Trump deported 238 gang members to El Salvador. What's the controversy? Well, apparently Democrats now want to keep gang members in the United States. It's all a dystopian world we live in. It's anything that this administration does, the Democrats say the opposite, regardless of how good or beneficial it is to our country. Sad state for the Democrats. And more bad information coming out from fearmongers and vaccine aficionados. Did you know the death rate from the measles declined 98% or more even before the measles vaccine was on the market? Yeah, the same thing happened with polio, completely eradicated before they got the jabs in your arms. Now, does that make any sense? And does it make any sense to continue to vaccinate the public for a disease that eradicated itself without the vaccine? I doubt it. But times are changing, and the depopulation agenda is king. What else is king? Gold. Now at an all-time high, just hit 3,000, ripped through today and stayed above for the first time in history. It's now going to race to $4,000. Will you miss out? If you put all of your savings into gold just 6 months ago, you would have gained 50%. Yeah, let's say you had 10 grand. You'd now be sitting on 15 grand. If you had 100,000, you'd have 150,000 now. And in a year, you would have over doubled it, especially if gold goes to 4,000, which everyone is speculating it will do, and rapidly. Silver as well. The best way to get into the precious metals market is to take your antiquated 401k, which is going to go the opposite way of gold, because as precious metals soar, the market tanks, just like fiat currency, which is happening now. You need to get out of cash and get in to precious metals. Goldco is the #1 rated precious metals IRA group on the internet, and also for direct purchases of gold. They're the only group now that has no minimums. Most other groups, you need 10 or 15,000 just to get started. At Goldco, you can buy a single ounce of silver if you want. Just fill out the free gold and silver kit, get all the details, and the best customer service in the industry. If you've got a huge 401k you want to transfer at no penalty, how do you like that? You can get bonuses and 10% instant silver match. Now, you got to be dumping 150K, 100K or more. But with a match like that, why wouldn't you go get it? Go get the Goldco free and gold silver kit. Help our channel, help your preparedness, and help your future retirement planning now. No obligation, just fill out the form. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share the video or shadow ban. We need your help to grow. Become a Patreon. Watch all of our podcasts in one place, commercial free. And join us over on Rumble. Magnetic Reversal News and Oppenheimer Ranch Project are over on Rumble. Go get it, censorship free. We love each and every one of you. Be safe. And that is a boom.